expansion was discussed both at a committee level and at the board, and ultimately the league office was tasked by our board with doing an in-depth analysis.
From the very beginning, it felt almost unbelievable that the most influential executive in professional basketball, the leader of a multi-billion-dollar empire, could be completely outplayed by a 22-year-old rookie. For months, reports circulating through the highest levels of sports broadcasting suggested a blockbuster agreement was nearly finalized. The NBA was preparing to unveil the biggest television event of the decade, a cross-league showdown expected to smash every existing viewership record. But once everything settled, the biggest name in basketball didn't simply walk away from the negotiations. She completely pulled the rug out from under the entire operation. What followed was a high-stakes corporate freefall that left league executives scrambling while exposing a bitter divide the basketball world was never meant to witness. To understand how events unraveled so quickly, you first have to examine the growing crisis surrounding the NBA's premier events. For years, All-Star Weekend had gradually been losing its appeal as fans grew tired of uninspired exhibition games where nobody played defense, and the declining ratings reflected that frustration perfectly. Television networks continued investing billions in broadcasting rights, yet the league's biggest showcase was slowly becoming a forgotten stop on the sports calendar. League officials desperately needed a genuine spark, something authentic that could reignite public excitement and get everyone talking once again. They were searching for an organic, high-stakes moment capable of reaching far beyond traditional sports media. Then, in early 2024, they believed they had finally found the perfect solution. The success of the special three-point shootout between Stephen Curry and Sabrina Ionescu provided the exact blueprint they had been searching for. It attracted massive viewership, created non-stop social media buzz, and delivered the competitive drama fans had been craving. Naturally, the immediate response from league headquarters was to build on that momentum and make the next edition even bigger. The ambitious strategy for the upcoming Bay Area showcase was straightforward yet incredibly bold. Bring together Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Sabrina Ionescu, and the ultimate crown jewel of modern sports media, Caitlin Clark. The event was projected to become the most-watched three-point competition in television history, with the potential to outdraw even actual playoff games. But that ambitious vision depended entirely on one person agreeing to participate. Behind the scenes, securing Caitlin Clark's commitment quickly became a top priority for both network executives and league representatives. Promoters understood that her presence alone could attract millions of non-traditional viewers, boost advertising rates, and generate unmatched online engagement. Rumors soon spread about major financial incentives, behind-the-scenes marketing guarantees, and promises of unprecedented primetime exposure. Everything was carefully presented to make the decision seem like an obvious choice for a young player entering the professional ranks. On paper, it offered the opportunity to strengthen her legacy on the global stage alongside some of the greatest shooters in basketball history. However, what corporate boardrooms failed to recognize was that Caitlin Clark had no interest in following their outdated playbook. When reports quietly emerged that she was declining the event, the internal response was complete disbelief. Industry insiders struggled to understand why a rookie would turn down such a massive promotional opportunity. For Clark, though, the reality was far different from the polished narrative being promoted behind closed doors. She had just finished an exhausting, non-stop stretch that carried her from her final collegiate championship run directly into an intense WNBA rookie season without any real break. Along with the mental exhaustion, she had endured relentless physical punishment on the court every night. Facing hard fouls and constant defensive pressure, she wasn't interested in becoming a convenient ratings fix for an NBA event that had gradually lost its identity. Her decision sent shock waves through the executive offices, leaving top officials stunned by the unexpected outcome. Reports claimed that high-level phone calls followed, attempting to renegotiate the situation and persuade her team to reconsider. Overnight, the narrative completely shifted, transforming what was supposed to be a celebration into an uncomfortable public relations setback for league leadership. For years, the NBA had assumed that any player would eagerly embrace the opportunity to appear on its biggest stage. Discovering that the most talked-about star in sports media no longer depended on that platform exposed a significant gap in the league's influence over a new generation of athletes. What unfolded next would surprise nearly everyone following the story, as the growing tension spilled into the public conversation and analysts openly questioned whether league executives had mishandled the negotiations from the very beginning. Rather than seeing the situation as straightforward, some believed the rookie sensation was being treated more like a commercial attraction than a serious competitor, something they viewed as disrespectful to her talent. Others speculated that deep internal politics between the men's and women's basketball organizations were influencing events behind the scenes. The conversation quickly evolved from a simple scheduling choice into a much broader debate about power, respect, and who truly controlled the future of basketball broadcasting. The story became even more complicated when examining the NBA's own internal dynamics. Throughout her rookie season, Clark carefully balanced elevating the league's profile while navigating unprecedented internal tension. Although her presence helped deliver sellout crowds, charter flights, and historic television contracts, it also appeared to spark visible jealousy among certain league veterans. Intense rivalries unfolded on national television through hard fouls, heated exchanges, and subtle criticism during post-game press conferences. Some former stars publicly minimized her immediate impact, fueling the perception that she had not yet earned her place among the game's biggest names. That underlying tension added another major layer to the NBA's proposal. Had Clark stepped onto the NBA's global stage alongside Steph Curry while bypassing traditional WNBA events, the backlash from some of her own league peers could have been enormous. She found herself being pulled in every possible direction, viewed as a solution for men's league ratings on one side, while facing continued scrutiny and resentment within her own basketball environment on the other. Navigating that difficult situation demanded tremendous caution, and stepping away from the spectacle ultimately allowed her to regain control of her own narrative. The decision also renewed national attention on the striking financial realities surrounding women's basketball contracts. Under the existing league structure, Clark's rookie base salary stood at roughly $76,000 annually, a figure many considered astonishing given the enormous revenue she was believed to help generate. At the same time, her endorsement portfolio painted a completely different picture. Supported by major agreements with companies such as Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm worth tens of millions, she had no need for an NBA exhibition appearance fee to establish her financial success or public status. Her economic influence existed independently of traditional league systems, giving her a remarkable level of freedom that very few young athletes had ever enjoyed. Once an athlete reaches that kind of independent position, conventional executive pressure tactics lose much of their impact. Adam Silver and his team were accustomed to working with players who depended heavily on league-controlled marketing platforms to grow their personal brands. Clark, however, entered the professional ranks with an enormous, loyal audience already in place, consistently breaking broadcast records without needing the NBA's approval or promotional support. Instead of reinforcing the old balance of power, the entire situation turned it upside down. The NBA appeared to need Caitlin Clark far more than Caitlin Clark needed the NBA, and her decision not to participate made that reality impossible to ignore. As reports about the unsuccessful negotiations continued dominating headlines, sports talk shows shifted into overdrive. Analysts carefully examined the fallout, debating whether her absence would significantly reduce the excitement surrounding the Bay Area All-Star Weekend. Executives at major television networks were reportedly growing nervous because they had sold expensive advertising packages built around expectations of a historic crossover event. Without the headline matchup fans had been eagerly anticipating, the three-point contest risked slipping back into the same predictable format that many viewers had grown tired of. The entire situation highlighted just how fragile corporate broadcasting strategies can become when they depend on placing a star into a role she has no interest in accepting. Inside the WNBA front office, the response was reportedly just as hectic as officials worked to manage the growing public narrative. On one side, league leaders wanted to protect their biggest attraction from physical exhaustion and media overload. On the other, missing a collaborative event that could have introduced women's basketball to 30 million casual viewers felt like a tremendous lost opportunity. The disagreement created an uncomfortable divide among decision-makers, with some supporting closer cooperation with the NBA, while others believed WNBA stars should focus exclusively on their own league. Clark's decision also renewed attention on emerging rival leagues hoping to seize the moment. New off-season ventures like the unrivaled 3-on-3 league were offering significant equity opportunities and six-figure salary guarantees to attract elite female talent. Those alternatives gave players unprecedented flexibility during the traditional off-season, further reducing the NBA's ability to dictate terms to women's basketball stars. The professional basketball landscape was evolving faster than many executives could keep pace with, and Clark stood directly at the center of that transformation. Every time commentators tried to portray her decision as a mistake or a missed opportunity, she allowed her performances and commercial success to speak for themselves. She continued breaking attendance records while helping television ratings for ordinary midweek games surpass long-standing expectations. Her influence became so significant that opposing teams regularly moved home games into much larger football stadiums simply to meet overwhelming ticket demand. She wasn't only increasing interest in her own team, she was helping drive the league's overall financial momentum. Compared with that level of impact, any single exhibition event seemed relatively small. Even so, behind the scenes, efforts from network executives reportedly continued as media companies searched for new ways to gain her participation. One proposal after another suggested revised formats, limited broadcast windows, and charity-focused concepts designed to make the event more attractive to her camp. Still, the response from Clark's inner circle remained consistent. Her priority was long-term career durability, championship success, and meaningful growth rather than short-term viral moments created for executive boardrooms. This unwavering decision delivered a powerful message to every sports media organization across the country. The era of dictating terms to elite female athletes through outdated playbooks had effectively come to an end. For decades, male-dominated league structures often treated women's sports as a supporting product, something showcased as a secondary attraction during major events. Clark challenged that long-standing dynamic by demonstrating that her own star power could attract as much attention as the men's events seeking to feature her. As the story continued dominating headlines, other top players around the league began closely watching how the situation unfolded. Seeing a rookie stand firm against some of the most influential figures in sports entertainment inspired a noticeable change in how athletes approached their own business opportunities. The conversation shifted away from simply earning a seat at someone else's table toward building entirely new platforms where players maintained full control over their image, schedules, and revenue. The impact of her decision extended far beyond a single three-point competition, signaling what many viewed as a lasting shift in athlete empowerment. Looking back at the series of events, the narrative surrounding Adam Silver's reported frustration appeared understandable from a corporate perspective. He was responsible for delivering a record-breaking broadcast to network partners who were increasingly concerned about declining audience engagement, having what many considered the biggest television draw within reach, only to see that opportunity disappear because of misjudged leverage and player exhaustion, represented a difficult setback for league leadership. The episode served as a strong reminder that in today's digital era, genuine media influence cannot simply be created through corporate pressure. Meanwhile, critics who argued Clark had made a commercial mistake were forced to reconsider as her brand value continued climbing. Major corporate sponsors embraced her independent approach, viewing her willingness to decline powerful organizations as evidence of authenticity, confidence, and conviction. Business partners recognized that her greatest value came from remaining committed to the game itself, rather than becoming a promotional tool for television networks searching for a quick ratings boost. The entire situation exposed an irony that many sports media analysts found impossible to overlook. For years, commentators had argued that women's basketball needed the NBA's endorsement and visibility to reach the mainstream audience. The situation revealed the NBA actively seeking a WNBA rookie's participation to revive one of its struggling showcase events. The traditional roles appeared to reverse completely, highlighting the idea that authentic fan engagement and genuine cultural relevance can outweigh even the strongest legacy branding. As the showcase drew closer, speculation continued that last-minute negotiations might still lead to a surprise appearance or a special recorded segment. However, once the official announcements were finalized, the reality became clear throughout the sports world. The highly anticipated matchup millions of fans had hoped to witness was no longer happening. The event moved forward with its standard lineup, leaving many wondering what might have been if executives had approached the process with greater foresight and more genuine respect for the athlete's own priorities. The lasting impact of this standoff is expected to influence how future crossover events are planned for years ahead. League officials were forced back to the drawing board, recognizing that attracting top-tier talent requires far more than corporate messaging and assumptions of automatic participation. Future discussions will likely need to place greater emphasis on workload management, meaningful player equity, and respect for off-season recovery if multi-league events are to succeed in a lasting way. In the end, Caitlin Clark's decision not to respond to the NBA's invitation demonstrated a level of maturity and long-term thinking that surprised much of the sports business. She understood her value, recognized the bigger picture, and refused to allow outside corporate pressure to influence her career path. By standing firm, she showed she was not only a generational talent on the court, but also a major force within the billion-dollar world of modern sports media. As professional basketball continues adjusting to this changing landscape, one reality has become increasingly difficult to ignore. The balance of power may never look the same again. The ripple effects of that single decision continue reaching boardrooms across American sports broadcasting. Network executives who once viewed women's basketball as secondary programming are now rethinking their primetime strategies to avoid missing the next major surge in viewership. The numbers continue fueling the conversation, and repeated attempts to minimize Clark's independent influence have struggled against the broader statistical picture. Looking at the situation as a whole, the enormous media attention surrounding her decision exposed an uncomfortable reality about how sports media often operates at the executive level. Major sports leagues relied on a top-down system that controlled player narratives and dictated the terms through traditional broadcasting dominance. However, the rapid rise of direct-to-consumer social engagement and independent personal branding has completely reshaped that old model. Today's fans follow individual stars with a level of loyalty that long-established organizations often cannot replicate on their own. That changing dynamic helps explain why the reported executive response behind closed doors appeared unusually aggressive and defensive. The issue extended far beyond losing a single three-point contest during a February showcase. It became a question of who truly influences and shapes modern sports culture. When a young athlete can decline an opportunity from one of the biggest leagues in basketball without experiencing any meaningful decline in popularity or financial success, the traditional methods of corporate influence begin to appear increasingly outdated. Looking ahead, the relationship between major league executives and independently powerful athletes is likely to become even more complex. As more rising stars recognize the significant economic influence they possess beyond traditional team structures, the demand for greater autonomy may continue growing across professional sports. Caitlin Clark's decision represented more than simply declining one competition invitation. It marked a defining moment that many viewed as symbolic of a new era of athlete independence and self-determination. Regardless of how strongly corporate boardrooms may disagree behind closed doors, they are ultimately left to adjust to the changing reality created by that shift.